Good. Good to know I'm not the only one that has the StreamYard sticky button.
There's just I don't know what it is. Maybe it's StreamYard. I don't know.
StreamYard.
But it's starting to get on my nerves now because I'm actually paying for it. But anyway, hello everybody and welcome to the Tardis Zone. You're here for the Tardis Zone Talks, and this is the second episode of the new format. I hope you are all well. As you see there, scrolling across the screen is some of the topics that we're going to be covering. Colin Baker is getting cancelled right now. It's the funniest thing that I've seen. Shooty Gatwa is to leave sex education. Millie Gibson makes it a surprise appearance at an awards show. And plus, we got Serious 14 news and photos to come later on in the show. See, I'm even having technical difficulties as well.
No, you had StreamYard sticky button. When we run the commercials on our show, yeah, we're US, so we got commercials. But every time I hit the button, it's almost like I had to press it like 2 or 3 times. It'll start and then stop. And
that's what's happening here.
Yeah, you'll sit there for like half a second going like, what just happened? Hit the button again, start, stop. Yes. So this is StreamYard. If you're listening by any chance of this show, can you fix that? It's what I call now the StreamYard sticky button. That's what it does.
Yeah.
You try to push the
it's
video
the only
button,
thing that's wrong with it. I'm not going to bail on it. I've seen some people say that they're going to switch. I mean, if you're going to switch as soon as they're having little problems, StreamYard has actually been very good. I've used StreamYard all my time on YouTube. So that's why we even decided to go with the package, like, because you know they answered any queries that I had, and their customer service seemed to be a lot better than most out there. So I'm not gonna ditch them, but they have to fix obviously their issues. But here, let's get the Colin Baker stuff out of the way because I don't want to harp on too much about it, to be quite honest with you. But he landed himself in a little bit of trouble. And you know, I find it quite funny because remember when Jodie Whittaker was cast, he was one of the ones that actually came out against fans that weren't on board with it. Now the same people that he was supporting have now turned on him because he happened to like a post, which I am going to read out now to you as soon as I can get it. Everything seems to be going slow today, so just bear with me for a second. But I want to get this out of the way because I don't want to dwell on it. I don't want to dwell on it too long. Fairness,
good morning everybody too as well. While Noel's pulling that up, good morning to everybody in the chats. I can see Garbage Briscoe's here, and anybody who's joining us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
So this is the post that was put up by a Twitter account called Star Hoovy, and some of you will know them on Twitter. And this is the post that has got him into trouble, and it's from Trevor Malloy, and it's obviously Star Hoovy was kind enough to throw it up on his Twitter account. So Trevor Malloy said this: I have no problem with anyone's gender identity. Each of our lives is our own to fulfill in a way we feel most comfortable and in harmony with others. What I cannot stand is the rabbit here. Why do the English people always use these weird words. What can you pronounce that word? Proselytization of particular point of view to the exclusion of any other opinion and demonizing those who do not agree wholeheartedly. And then the post obviously goes on. So basically what he's saying there is that, you know, the LGBTQ plus community asks us all to be, you know, mindful of their feelings and their opinions and stuff. But basically they don't do the same as what Trevor Malloy is trying to say. And Colin Baker, as soon as it comes up, hopefully it doesn't say me Twitter has slowed down. And Colin Baker responded with, well said, my friend. Right? So because Colin Baker has basically replied back to it, what I would say is a fairly decent point of view, he is now being attacked by the usual mob. As I said, I don't want to dwell too much on this, but all I will say is that, you know, if they think they're going to be able to cancel Colin Baker, they've another thing coming. I mean, we as Doctor Who fans have been trying to cancel him ever since he did his air of Doctor Who, for God's sake. Now, all joking aside, you know, at the end of the day, I do not condone any sort of harassment and pylons. So what I'd say to those people out there is basically this. Listen, this is the whole point of society. We have these debates, we have these conversations, but it seems over the last few years we haven't been able to do that as a society and as a fandom, and in individual fandoms we've seen the same thing happen. All I would say is that you have to listen to other people's opinions. That's how we learn, that's how we move forward, and that's how we come to some common ground. Attacking people because, you know, they dare question certain things is not the way to behave. So let's hope that those guys cop on and leave Colin Baker alone. I'm sure there'll be more ridiculousness. But yeah, Christian, I don't really want to drag you into this because this is not what we wanted to do, but I did see this and I think it is relevant. It's got to do with Doctor Who, you know, so I thought we'd just start with it, get it over with, so we can move on to the most important stuff.
I just never understood the pylon of the cancel culture. It's just like, well, you know, we're going to send 50 people to make you feel bad. And, you know, none of these people I've ever seen, but all of a sudden I say something and this bothers 50 people.
Yeah.
And they're telling their friends and stuff. And I'm like, first of all, there's a certain writer who wrote a wizard book, you know, and the more you talk about her game, the more it's going to appease people to check out the game. So the idea of cancel culture, they're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
If you really want a cancel culture, stop talking about it.
Exactly.
That's how you cancel culture.
They've made that certain wizard game, as you said, number one now. It's like that one of you know, it's backfired severely with their little petitions and all. Listen, bottom line is that J.K. Rowling, whether he's like her or Rowling, whatever her name is, making bank. And it's all because, you know, people that are complaining. Yous are given the free advertisement for this show. It's the same with the people giving out about Thelma, right? Yous have made that popular because people keep giving out about it. If you truly, Christian is right, if you truly want something to be cancelled, right, you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it because as soon as you start giving it attention, see, I don't think people realize whether it's good publicity or bad publicity, right? Or good opinions or bad opinions. It's still promotion for that product that you are giving out about or praising. Do you know what I mean? So stop. Look, it's, you know, a lot of YouTube channels, I suppose, including my own, probably have kind of made a living out of doing that. Obviously, with Doctor Who, I think we were rightly justified.
That's the thing about cancel culture too. It's lazy.
Yeah.
It's stupid. it is the toxicity that everybody's trying to get out of. That's why in social
Yeah.
media, everybody's just war torn about things. And it's just like, wait a minute, you were just on your phone. Why do you know now you look depressed? And people are taking on this holier than thou approach to knock people off. And they said, like, do you really care about, do you think J.K. Rowling? And I'm just like, well, I said the name, but do you really think she's going over there when she's swimming
She's
around
not. She
in her
literally
Scrooge
put up a
McDuck
post.
money
Christian. She
bank?
put up a post. She put up a
Yeah.
post to say that she had made bank. Like, she's literally like, they're trying to cancel her, but all they've done is they've added more millions to our bank account.
Right, exactly. And it's just like, if you really want to cancel it, leave her alone. Don't subscribe to her. Do what the mature thing is. And you see something you don't like, that when you scroll up, keep scrolling. Just keep going. Find the things that you want to, I mean, if you want to be more empowered and emboldened, join these groups that defend these cultures. Take care of the people that need to be taken care of, and move on. And the people that you just don't give two rats is about, just move on. Either their philosophy is just going to die out, or you're going to give them enough. Either, it's the fight or flight deal. Either they're going to either go away and find another way of coming back, or they're going to double down like she does. And it's just like, you're not winning anything. You're not making her feel bad. I mean, this woman was abused by her husband.
Yeah.
Was penniless, was kicked out on the street, and had absolutely nothing. In fact, she had to get the police to get her daughter back. We never say anything about that.
No.
But, this woman went through hell, and it's like, you think a tweet is going to shoot her down? I'm not talking about the things that she said. I'm only saying about what your approach is to take her down. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. It's just not going to happen. You can say
anyway, if you don't agree with what she said, or even if you do agree with what she said, at the end of the day, she's entitled to have those opinions. And the thing about it is, though, the good thing about it is we can debate them. And that's what we used to do in society. Or we come to some common ground, or we all get educated and we learn a little bit more. But it seems with certain group of people, you cannot have debate. You cannot have those conversations. But look, we don't want to get down on it. We'll leave it there because I want to bring it to, obviously, Colin Baker. I hope he's all right. I'm not a fan of his doctor. I don't like the fact that he did pander to this law.
I'm just going to say this. If there is a cancel culture out there listening to the show by any chance, try doing something constructive. Instead of trying to tear down, why don't you try to build up? Get these people. You'll be surprised how not only do these people, they just want to live their life. I'm not talking about the transgender movement. I'm just talking about people in general in the social media.
Yeah.
That's all they want to do. And take the time, take the 5 minutes to build things up and build a relationship and work together and convince them, than the 5 cheap seconds to try to knock them down. And you're not going to get anywhere. Nothing's changed. You've probably doubled down them. So that's all I'm saying about this. If you want to convince people.
Right. Well, let's get into our Doctor Who news. So apparently new Doctor Who star, Millie Gibson. I love actually saying that. It's great to see that Doctor Who, even in Ireland, is being written about positively. It's been a long time coming, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, but it's great. It's great to actually see. So this is from an Irish newspaper called The Independent. i.e. it's more one of those broadsheet papers, so the snobs kind of read. Well, I read it, so I must be a bit of a snob. So, but it's the snobby newspaper, the posh paper. The way you have our tabloids, and then you have your posh papers. Well, this is our posh paper. So, new Doctor Who star Millie Gibson makes an surprise appearance at the BBC News Awards. The actress, who will star alongside Ncuti Gatwa in the popular sci-fi show, announced the winner of the Rising Star of the Year award. So she got to do a bit of presenting. Millie did, and it's actually nice to see that they're doing all of this stuff, because this is all good. This is all good exposure, Christian, isn't it? I mean, even if it is, a news awards, she's getting herself out there, and that's what Ncuti will be doing as well. But that is only good for the show, isn't it? Doing stuff like this.
Well, it's not only good for the show, but this is why I antagonized a previous showrunner when he took that year off. I said, instead of just taking a year off, you should have taken Jodie, paraded her around to every convention that you could possibly muster so that people could get a good relationship, get a good read on her. And because you took a year off, so everybody thought you were distant. That's what it makes me feel like. You're just keeping everything off to the side, and if you really want to get the attention of people, send these folks out there, get them a relationship and a bonding with the fans, so that when they
Yeah.
start up, they feel so confident, they are energized and ready. You took a year with Jodie and then disappeared. You should have been taking her to every convention in the US, the UK,
Mm.
wherever. Get the relationship going, and maybe we could be still talking about Jodie later on. I don't know if the stories would have helped, but people would, at least when day one hit, or the second year hit, oh, we've seen Jodie, she's nice, she's sweet, maybe we did have a bad opinion about her. Or maybe there's people who I know who have seen her. Finally, she came out to the conventions. I wouldn't say they 180'd around her series as the Doctor, but they've 180'd around her as a person, and just they had that disconnect. All they saw were interviews and stuff like that. They never got to see her in
Do you know
person.
what? I
And
have to be
now
honest
it's
with you. I went through that period. I saw her on a show while she was still doing Doctor Who. She did Who Do You Think You Are? You
Mhm.
have it in America, but it started off, I think, in the actual UK first. So basically, it was Jodie Whittaker, and she was going back through her past, her ancestors, and stuff like that. And at the start, she was talking about this bloke that was in our family and stuff. And at the start, I was like, oh, here we go now. She's just going to spend this whole entire episode just bashing this man and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So I had this vision that because we'd seen her in interviews, the way, our rhetoric with, empowering girls and girls didn't have role models and all of this. And the male gaze quote. So I was thinking all of that, and I watched it, and I watched it with the intention of saying, right, she's not going to ever change my opinion that she's actually a nice person. And you know what? By the end of it, I thought, number one, it was probably one of the best episodes of Who Do You Think You Are that I've seen. But she was absolutely brilliant, and she fell in love with this ancestor of hers, this male ancestor of hers. And at first, I literally thought she was gonna talk because it just the way they start filming it was weird at first, but then it got down to it, and you could see it as she was hearing this bloke's story, her ancestor story. You could see that to me that cold heart of hers was melting. So I had a slightly different opinion to her after that, like as a person. But then a couple of weeks later, then she goes and does another interview, and then I was kind of like, after she was probably fibbing me there. But yeah, I think she does have it in her. I wish she had showed it a little bit more, but ultimately it just didn't work. But you are right. I mean, Series 11, she was the most promoted Doctor that we'd ever seen. I mean, and then when it didn't work out, then Series 12, she hardly got any promotion. And fair enough, COVID and all was on the horizon and stuff like that. So you could blame that. But even with Flux, when they had the opportunity to do a little bit more promotion, to me, they did the minimal amount, to be quite honest with you. Um, yeah, it is a shame. But look, I'm kind of glad the two of them are gone now.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of optimism now. I mean, you see everybody's optimism, and this is a nice little segue. So fans have been speculating because there's been video footage that has been released and stuff. Well, because fans do be there at filming. So apparently Millie Gibson's Ruby Tuesday, isn't that her name? Yeah, does the whole scene where Billy Piper ran around the TARDIS.
You said Ruby Tuesday. That's a restaurant here in the States. It's Ruby Sunday.
Oh, it's Ruby Sunday.
I'm glad
Okay.
you
Well,
said
there
that,
you
though.
go. Jesus Christ. There you go. Ruby Tuesday, Ruby
I'm
Sunday.
sure there's a story behind the Ruby Sunday thing, but when I first
There
heard it, I was
is.
like, Ruby Tuesday. That's the first thing I thought too. No, it was Ruby Tuesday. So she's a restaurant. So
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Anyway, here's this article. It says Doctor Who fans spot season 1 references in new filming pics. Fans have noted the return of a location referenced in The Parting of the Ways. Ooh, interesting. Filming on this year's Doctor Who Christmas special is currently ongoing in Bristol, and fans reckon they found a reference to the modern era's first season in some pictures taken from the set. Now, I will actually just say this first, actually. Radio Times do this a lot, right? Fans reference this and fans reference that. They did it all the way Jodie Whittaker's era. Fans have never been right about Anne. Never been right. Or got any references right. They've been totally wrong. I mean, I think Radio Times and all of these articles now, they're waiting on the next bit of news, so they're just trying to fill in the gaps. But anyway, Twitter users, of course, it's always Twitter, isn't it? I have spotted a nod to a location from returning showrunner Russell T Davies, the first stint on the iconic sci-fi show, following previous allusions to characters and places from his time on the series and other filming pics. Takes RTD, right? Of course, there's going to be references to his previous era. That's without a shadow of a doubt. The only thing that the reason why I'm reading this article, because I have this thing in the back of my head, I just hope he's not doing an RTD 2.0 with this. Basically, you know, not a carbon copy of what he did in 2005, but slightly similar. I don't want. That's my fear. Oh, it has to be. It has to be fresh. Has to be fresh. I don't mind throwbacks. We've always had throwbacks with RTD Moffat, right? We love them, but if the series becomes consumed with throwbacks and member berries, I'm sorry, Disney Star Wars have tried that and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for most of the stuff that they've put out. I love The Mandalorian. Works for The Mandalorian. Not a bother. As for the rest, I'm not a fan. I know Christian there is making noises, so obviously he has a different opinion on it. And as he is my co-host, Christian, give us your opinion on it.
Well, not necessarily a different opinion, a different take. Because
Right,
one of the things that I've understood, at least in the past, and this was told to me, that RTD could have started all over with Christopher Eccleston. He could have been Doctor Number One. And I think RTD appreciates classic Who. He loves classic Who. He loves the old stuff. So bring back some possibly, classic stuff just to remind people and just kind of refresh, because, we've gone so far from that, from Rose and all that it doesn't hurt to bring it back. And it was the same way when I explained on my show, how Russell T did it. You can bring in the Daleks with the Weeping Angels. You can bring in the Cybermen with the Vashta Nerada. You can bring in the Centaurans with the Ood and kind of mix it up. Now, if you're just going to be on a singular road about just doing all classic Who, then no, because it's always cool to have some new stuff as well as the old stuff to appease to us, so that I can see, something like the Candyman making a comeback. What would the Candyman be under CGI and done, so well? What kind of?
No, I don't mind the
thanks,
classic.
Speedy.
I don't. I don't. I actually don't mind the classics references or bringing back classic monsters. What I'm saying is I don't want too many references from his first era either. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want too many references from the first era, because like you can have a few, but don't have too many. The show still has to feel fresh as well. Remember that. It's gone through a torrid time the last 5 years. This is no time, in my opinion. The 60th, you're going to play it safe with the 60th. The 60th is going to be a hit either way, okay? We know that it's the 60th anniversary. It's going to be a hit. But for Series 14, I believe he has to take a bit of a risk. He has to try something different. I don't want too many throwbacks. He's got to move forward with the show.
That's right. And I think that was the fault of Chibnall with his first season. You're like, I'm not going to go classic monsters, no classic writers, nobody directing.
Exactly.
Everything is completely brand new. And it's like, oh, you just
he did the extreme.
Doctor Who good.
Yeah, he did the extreme, Christian, and then he backed out of it then when it didn't quite work. Look, I'll always give Chris Chibnall credit for trying what he did with Series 11. He did try to freshen it up. He did try something new with it. But unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. His writing just wasn't good enough. And it was too big of a change too quick, if you get me. It should have been gradual.
I totally get you. The thing was, and this is my argument on these things, he said no, and then all of a sudden, what do we get? Daleks, master, Dalek, master. And
yeah,
and
I know.
And I'm like, Chris Chibnall, you have a treasure trove
of other monsters,
right? And like, why are you? I don't know.
Why do you think there's been a reluctance, actually, Christian? That is a question, because they've always relied on Cybermen, Daleks, right? Even what you call it.
I'll tell you what. No, I apologize. I just have to run for a second, but when I get back, I'll answer that question for you. Give me one moment. I apologize. I'll be right back.
Not a bother. Well, while you're doing that, I'll read the rest of the article anyway. So let's get back into this anyway. So the most recent spot concerns the return of Minto Road, a place that was previously mentioned by Mickey Smith and Noel Clarke. Oh, that's going to upset a few people. During the 4th season finale, The Parting of Ways, where he asked Jackie Tyler, have you tried the new pizza place on Minto Road? Well, I will say that is a good spot. See, that's a legitimate one. You know what I mean? When they come up with some nonsense that, like, you know, Neil Patrick Harris's character is this, that, and the other, and I never write about that. You know what I mean? Quite how significant the return of this road is still very much up to the imagination, but it follows a number of other little nods to places from previous episodes. See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, I'll show those film and photographs now in a minute, because I've got others to show you as well. So we'll get into all of those film and photographs in just a second. Back in May 2022, Doctor Who fan account The Post Monument spotted a poster advertising the fictional department store Henrik's, where Rose Tyler used to work, while fans have also noted promotional material for a political party called Albion, which shares a name with the hospital that featured in season 1 of Aliens in London and The Empty Child. Yeah, I remember that. It disappeared and went up onto the moon as well. In the Dune episode in Series 3, Smith and Jones. Which way you look at it, certainly seems that Davis is going to be leaning into events from previous tenure on the show. Listen, if he expands on certain episodes and is doing something clever, I'll be up for that. But I don't know what you guys think in the chat. Is okay with all of these little. I suppose it is a little throwback to his era, isn't it? I suppose, and we can't really argue too much. I just hope it's not, as I said, oversaturated with that sort of stuff. But Christian, that's while you're back now anyway. But I'll ask that question again, because I think, and I'll ask everybody in the chat as well, if you just want to give the answer. Why do you think the BBC has been, or whoever the showrunner has been so reluctant to look at other villains and other aliens from Doctor Who's past, instead of, as I said, focusing on the safe bets like the Cybermen and the Daleks and so on? Why do you think there is?
Laziness. I didn't know if there was,
because some of the villains and the monsters back in the day looked ridiculous, and they just don't know how to redesign. Would that be an issue, do you think?
Well, first of all, I didn't know if they had like a Terry Nation thing going on where they, the writer of the, are there any rights to them doing certain characters? Like Terry Nation had his lock on the Daleks for a while, his foundation or his family. I just want, and I think the Cybermen at one point had it. But I know for a fact that Terry Nation's family, had some kind of clause with the Daleks especially when bringing them back. And I think something happened along the way with the first episode of Dalek where they didn't have the right as of yet, but then they finally got the rights, and then they just put out the episode anyway.
Yeah, the original story for Series 1 was supposed to be the Toclafane. And that was the original premise for Series 1. That's what he was originally going to do. And you are right. They were negotiating with the Terry Nation estate. They came to an agreement that they could use Daleks, use the Daleks, but they were still ironing out the finer details. You are right. But that completely changed Series 1. Because then they got permission to use the Daleks. And then, of course, the Toclafane story did actually feature. But that was supposed to be a whole Series 1 arc. That was supposed to be originally Christopher Eccleston's Series 1 arc. And, of course, at the time, before they had a falling out, he was already signed up to do a second series. So it would have been, that even thinking about that would have been very interesting. How Doctor Who would have, how it would have actually progressed if it had went that way rather than the way that we know that it did. I wonder if it would have affected the popularity. I don't think so. I think it would have made it even more. I think because Christopher Eccleston, think about it, Christian. That story, if he had done that Toclafane story during that first season, right? It was a whole serious act. That would have been very dark. That would have been like Peter Capaldi's first series, Series 8. People didn't like Peter because he was too dark.
I think to answer your question about, what works best, and I guess I'm not sure. I have to look at the ratings again. Maybe because Daleks and Tar and Cybermen, get the good ratings because it brings in classic and new Who together because they're so familiar with it, especially with classic Who. But yeah, what would the Delta and the Bannerman? The Bannerman was always goofy looking to me. They always looked weird, especially when they had that little war cry in the air. What if we took them and 2023 them? What would they look like now? I'm sure they would look like the terror of the universe if we gave them really proper costumes, really a dark backstory, and they would be awesome. The Candyman with a big CGI, what would it look like? Have a Halloween special on the Candyman alone. I mean, how would that function out over there? And like things that people have been begging for, like a story about Romana. How did she lose the Time War? How did she lose Gallifrey? Why was Rassilon pulled back in the first place? Now, I know people don't want to dabble into it, but Big Finish had no problem doing it. So why are, what's Omega doing these days? What did the Ronnie fight in the Time War? Where's the Monk? Now we're finally seeing what the Celestial Toymaker. What, 2 decades later?
Well, that's
if he villain to the first Doctor.
Well, that's if he is the Celestial Toymaker.
Celestial Toymaker. But Beep the Meep, for crying out loud! That would be a nice little one-off episode to see how Shooty would have. Oh well, we'll see how David Tennant will do it, but how Shooty would interact with Ruby on Beep the Meep. I mean, you just have a treasure trove of stuff, and it's just sitting there collecting dust. And I kind of appreciate if that's what Russell T is going for. Now, if it gets too much, it might get too silly, but maybe that's what he wants. He wants to have more of Big Finish in there. If he's going for the multiverse, then yeah, why isn't Big Finish a part of it? Why couldn't it be? There's good stories and good stuff in there. The Monk has a big representation in there, and there's some really dark stories with the Eighth Doctor and the Monk. Really dark. So That's just my opinion there. Careful driving.
Right. Anyway, yeah. Interesting. I'd love to see Zootek return.
Sutek, yes,
For
Sutek.
me,
Everybody's begging for
for
Sutek.
me, Pyramids of Mars. I love that. I'd actually love them to do maybe not a sequel, but I'd love them to do a similar episode. I love that to do ancient Egypt anyway. So like it'd be fascinating for me. And shoot, he did mention that. So I would love to. Hopefully, they're doing something. But this is shooting right. But now, the Twitter account is Doctor Who Filming Locations. I'll put the link in the chat there. You can go and like the photos and stuff like that, so they don't complain. People like to complain nowadays. Anyway, my computer is glitching for some weird reason. But we'll see if we can get this photograph up. So this is Shoot. You're arriving. Apparently, if I'm correct in saying, this is the first time he's been actually spotted on filming location.
Take down the separate screen. See if that'll put StreamYard back into position. There you go. How's that feel?
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Man. Okay, you're back. Yeah, it was kind of. Hey, don't worry. I've been. If anybody's been following me,
the computer is glitching. Just give us a second. I have to. I think we're getting to the stage now where I'm gonna have to.
Well, it was the same thing when everybody called Moffat out when they said the Master's not coming back. The Master's not coming back. The Master's not. And I was on a separate podcast, and they all said the same thing. The Master's coming back, and I said, I'll take a different approach. I say the Ronnie's coming back, only because I knew the Master was coming back. But it was just like, and then we ended up with Missy. And it's like, oh, the Master's not coming back because it's Missy, and now the Master's back. So it's just like that was just a stupid, silly, just a thing. What they did, but it's that was the problem with Moffat. He was like, it's going to be the best thing. It's going to be, and that's what a showrunner does. But if you're not going to deliver on the product that you're producing out there, or people call you out and go, it's the best kept secret. What is it? Oh, it's the Master. No, the Master's not coming back. But it's Missy, but that's the Master. I'm just like, everybody knew the Master was coming back, but we just didn't know it was going to be Michelle Gomez. But I'll give him credit. Michelle Gomez ate scenery with Peter Capaldi. They both chewed it up. They both had a good time. You knew that they were, we were in for something really cool, and she took the Master and ran with it.
Right. Hopefully now it works. But you're right. I wasn't too sure on Michelle Gomez. She's won me over the years. So there's Shooty getting into his car. And then obviously I'd love to show you the 3-second film clip of him arriving. But I'm afraid if I do, it's going to go all blinky again. So there he is getting into his car. So yeah, he's been spotted on film location, and a lot of photographs have actually appeared from this actual Twitter account. They obviously have people on the ground. It's like I have to give it to them. It's like a military operation. It's very well run. They know where they're going to be filming. They obviously, they have. Do you have people that know where to look for all of these filming locations? I suppose if I checked myself, it's probably just laziness. But here's a few more photographs anyway of filming. So I just want to get these in real quickly before there's any more glitches, because, I don't know what's happening. But StreamYard, you want to sort out your stuff, mate, because I'm paying for this. If it was free, if I was using the free version, I wouldn't actually give a crap, but I'm actually paying for this crap. So
later on I'll tell you what I did, because we play a game called Doctor Who Worlds Apart, and for the longest time, and it still does every now and then, it just destroys my computer because I try to play the game and stream on it, and it was just killing it. He even put on a separate computer, was killing it. But I found a way on the same computer to play the game and record an episode when we play the game. You should try it. You should try
So
it.
there you go. This
really
is
cool
location 2. So this is a Prism nightclub in Cardiff. Where they're doing some filming. Let's see if I can scroll across the other photograph without having to actually go out. Come on.
No, it's happening again.
I mean, this has never been this bad.
Well, there's some scenes out there, and we can go into the Twitter link.
Oh, there we go. It's coming on. It's coming on. You know what? It seems like I have to keep leaving Twitter and then coming back to it. So sorry, this is gonna take. So there's a signpost with I don't know, that might be location 2 or something like that. So that's that. I mean, they put up photograph. That's like, you know what? There's only one way around this. I'm going to actually just use a Times article with the film and photographs that they've got. Because this doesn't seem to be working out, guys. Can you all still hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, it was when you were. Yeah, it's the computer. When you bring up the other screen, it just really borks you. So if you got just clips, I would just put them up as is. But we get it. They're on location.
Yeah.
Filming.
No, I've got the radio. The radio time should be fine. The radio time should be fine. They've got photographs here, so the radio times should actually be fine when I do this. It's Twitter itself. But I don't know what Elon's doing, man, but it's not working right for some weird reason. Right.
Oh, no,
start filming photographs. Just give us a second.
But I know StreamYard has just been having hiccups every now and then, and even though with the hiccups, I still think it's an awesome program. Now, here's the thing. This is something that we brought up on the show a while back. Was that, do you think it gets more attention if Russell T puts out a clip on YouTube or puts out pictures on his Instagram? Or do you think it gets more attention when somebody says, oh, we were hiding in a bush and we saw what was going on, and here's a picture from the bush and here's a scene out there? Which one do you think gets more attention? Because I think that's what they're doing.
I think social media. I think he gets a lot. I think social media does draw a lot of attention to Doctor Who. I don't think that was the case under the previous regime. They did aim a lot towards social media, but it just didn't. It didn't work. I think the difference is RTD though is using all the platforms available. He's using social media, but if you go and actually look at the trailers on YouTube for his upcoming era, they've actually performed better than most of the trailers that we've seen over the last few years, and that includes Peter Capaldi. So, he's been using BBC as well. It does be advertised on BBC. So he's using all the things that he can use. But I think him alone, he just needs to open his mouth. I mean, even if it's an interview with a magazine, it gets a lot of attention. So he brings a lot of attention to Doctor Who because of his success with Doctor Who. And obviously, since he's left the show, he's had tremendous success. So he brings a lot of baggage with him, but he absolutely is the king of knowing how much to put out to whet the fans' appetites. And I think that's the difference. I think he's very clever in that way, and he'll use social media the right way, in my opinion. I don't think Chris Chibnall kind of got how to use social media. Probably sure he wasn't even present on any social media, which I think was a mistake for a showrunner. I think there should be nowadays. There should be a presence. I think it should be
Well,
there
he was.
for a chance to for fans to to actually talk to interact with the showrunner. Now, obviously, if there's any abuse, I'm not for that. You can keep that away. But if you have genuine questions that you want to talk to the showrunner about, I mean, look at the showrunners for Cobra Kai. They're on Twitter and they interact with fans on Twitter. And Cobra Kai is very popular with people. But you just need that person on social media to, to give you a little bit of attention. That was one of the biggest criticisms of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, the lack of social media presence. Now, I know some will argue, well, the reason why they weren't on social media because it was so toxic. But don't listen here, right? They can get people to run those Twitter accounts, and we've seen as Twitter censors everybody left, right, and center. I'm pretty sure the people that were running that social media accounts or both could have censored the tweets that they didn't want people to see. Simple as that. There's no excuse for them not to be on social media, as far as I'm concerned. That's where I stand. I think you should use everything available to you.
I think it should have been the same way that Capaldi treated the fans. Not that he was on his social media. He went out. Yeah. He went out and about. He was touring the world with Jenna Coleman to kind of push so the fans could see him and talk to him. There's a moment of social media, but when they say toxic is, toxicity is on social media, well, duh. It's all over. It's how you use the media. It's how you use social media as a tool. If you're going to take the hammer and bang it on your head, you're not using it right. And that's how people use the social media. They're banging on their heads or banging on each other's heads when it could be used so properly. One of the things when I do the conventions is I convince people to watch Doctor Who. I convince people to watch my favorite show. There'll be people in the audience who have never seen it. And in some cases, the only thing they know about Doctor Who is because it was a title on my panel. But they'll walk in and want to hear something or just want to get away and talk, hear about it. And I'll actually, make them the focal point and say, hey, let's talk about it. Let's get you guys going. And they're among friends. They're among Whovians. That's the way the social media should work.
Yeah.
I should not. And that's why it's turned about. And, these social media places, I'm not going to name any names, but the ones that started antagonizing, well, if you don't like her, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. The onus is not for me to like this show. The onus is on you to convince me to like the show. It's my money, my time, my patience, my choice.
Yeah.
And there are a billion things else I could be doing. And if you're not convincing me to do that, and it was always see you, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And when people left because they didn't like Jodie, I never said that to any Whovian. I always said, I'll see you at the next regeneration. You tried, you watched 2 or 3 episodes, you didn't like it. I'm not going to hold you, I'm not going to chain you down to watch this. I'm not going to force you to consume something you don't like. I'll see you at the next regeneration. We gave it a try. And that's all I can ask somebody to do. But don't stop being a Whovian because, you didn't like this is palatable. This is unpalatable. Maybe the next person will be great. Maybe the next person will take care. But
so these are the photographs, Bristol filming, Minto Road, Christian, because I know you have to wrap up soon. So I just want to get this, let people know in the chat. So this is Minto Road. This is the reference to Parting Ways where Mickey Smith asked Jackie if she's tried the new pizza place on Minto Road. It could be a pizza place. It'll be very interesting to see where that leads. And that was posted up by Bristol Mosaic. And that's on Twitter there as well. And what I'll do actually is, as while we're here, I will actually copy that and put that in. So Minto Road, very interesting that there's going to be a reference, Christian, to Minto Road in Shooty's series. I wonder if it is going to be actually that pizza place, maybe because, but I don't know how the Doctor would know about that pizza place unless, and some people have speculated that Millie Gibson could be related to Rose Tyler.
I was about to say, and this is going to be a far stretch, but as much rumors or speculations. What if Ruby Sunday is the daughter of Metacrisis and Rose, and she ends up coming
Rose.
back coming to our dimension? And that'd be funny because now Shooty's doctor is kind of like dad now. It's just like, either things didn't turn out too well in that dimension, or she just wanted to visit other incarnations. And she's like, well, we've heard about this doctor. And now it is a father and daughter thing. Because now Ruby Sunday is the daughter of, Metacrisis and Rose. Because in that episode, they were able to passionately kiss because Rose got the wish that she wanted. So how far did that wish go? And maybe she jumped in from their dimension to here to see what was going on with this doctor. I'm just, like I said, stupid, ridiculous, but that's Doctor Who too at times. Yeah. So yeah, I got to run, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
always.
Not a bother. But just obviously, Shooty is leaving sex education. We could have went into that a little bit more, but I suppose that was probably the obvious bit of news there because he's going to be concentrating on Doctor Who, and I'm pretty sure. I don't think he's just going to stay for 3 years. He could be a long-term choice. So we could have a Shooty for maybe 5 seasons. It'd be nice
if with Disney Plus, with Sony, with everything that's going on with Bad Wolf. I mean, normally that would have been the norm with BBC, but now with this going on, like, I don't know. I can't even give you a straight answer.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to work for Disney 10 years ago. I used to be able to tell you, on the road. I joked with friends, and we did it once. Blindfold me, and they drove around, and they were just like, "Where are we?" And I said, "We're in front of Epcot." Because you can hear the sounds and all that, and all that stuff. It was just like I was so used to it. Now, 10 years later, I'm just like, no, everything's changed over there.
Yeah.
So I see.
Roy, do your channel shout outs because I know you're in a hurry. I shouldn't have dragged that on a little bit more, but
no, you're fine. I just had to reboot my other computer to get things started. So I mean, like, if I'm a few minutes late, it's not the end of the world. But yes, thank you. Thank you as always, Noel, and thank you everybody in the chats. PD Rich, thanks you for the shout out. But yeah, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on YouTube and Facebook. That's the best way to find us. If you happen to be in the Florida area, we're going to be going to Pensacon the last weekend of February. So we're going to be there 14 doctor celebrities, including 5 doctors. I'm not joking. I'm like, geez. And I'm like, this is not even Britain. This is not the UK. How did you even pull this off? Which include Christopher Eccleston, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Paul McGann, Sylvester McCoy, and their companions. I know, just like I'm geeking out about this.
You'll be bleeding. You'll be hitting the roof, man. Get as many autographs and photographs as you can.
I'm already going broke trying to get there because it's an 8-hour distance just to get. Everybody thinks that Florida is Walt Disney World. I'm like, no, it's Miami and Panhandle. I meant the whole distance. Just to travel the whole distance of Florida could take 24 hours. Not kidding. Going from tip to tip. And it's just, it's been that's going to be fun. And again, on our YouTube channel, and as help us out on the YouTube channels, give us a like, share, comment, subscribe, everything you can do to help indies, because we're the ones that will try to get the voices out here. We're the ones that try to get your voices out here. And we want to make sure that everybody understands that we are Whovians. We are together. We are as one. And even though we may not see things eye to eye, we share one thing in common, our love for Doctor Who. And if we can just commune that so that it's our love for each other, you'll be surprised how well this geekdom will take off and become better than everything else. But that's just my opinion.
Here. Anyway, we'll leave it there, folks. Join me again tonight with Chris from Cultivated Media. Lee won't be joining us because it's he's got a guest coming over and he's going to be busy, so we won't have Lee with us tonight, but we wish him the best tonight. Entertaining guests is stressful enough as it is.
Tell Bowles I said hi. He never responds to me.
Who?
Bowles, the other guy. The
Cultivated Media.
The artist formerly known as.
He'll be here. He'll be here tonight. Joining me, hopefully. So yeah, here at 9 o'clock. So we leave it there. Thank you, folks, and
See you guys.
we'll see you for Friday night contact 9 o'clock. Don't forget, I'll put the stream up pretty soon. So yeah, come and join us tonight for some plenty to talk about in the world of pop culture. Plenty to talk about. So come and join us. We look forward to it, as we always do. And oh my god. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. And we shall talk to you. Fucking hell, PD. We will talk to you at 9 o'clock tonight. Come and join us for the Tardis. Nessay, he's got me confused, PD. Come and join us for Friday night contact tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm going off now to make some spaghetti bolognese. So I'll see you. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.